Hello, all my crafty creator friends. Welcome. It's Saturday and it's our 4 o'clock live. So come on in. I have a fun craft creating event today. So some good things happening. Let me move a few things out of the way here. All right. Oh, crazy hair. Use the crazy hair. It'll be good. All right. A few housekeeping items. Hello, Greg. Welcome, my lovely, handsome assistant. Let's get a few housekeeping things out of the way. If you see that red live box, that means we're live. If you don't see it, not to worry. Just hit hashtag replay. I'd love to say hello to you. And thanks for watching the replay. I am Christy, the owner of Uncommon Necessities, and we are located here in Port Orchard, Washington at the Town Square Mall, 1700 Southeast Mile Hill Drive, Suite 150. Our brick and mortar shop. Hi, Miss Kay. Welcome. I'm glad you're able to join. Thanks for coming. Our hours for our brick and mortar shop here at the Town Square Mall is Thursday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So a little bit about that. We do have some changes coming. So make sure you are liking and following our page. I do make announcements there. I do post new items that we get in shop. And that's where you can make sure you get your notifications for your lives. Hi, Miss Melissa. Welcome. Glad you could join us today. I hope everybody's having a good Saturday. I don't know if anybody else experienced it, but we had our power go off here at the mall for about 30 seconds. So I hope everyone, if you did experience, was okay and didn't have any issues from it. It was quite an unusual event. It blinked off and then came back on. So welcome everyone. It happened there too, Miss Kay. Yeah. Greg was home and we live in the Tremont area and it went off there as well. So something pretty big happened. I'm just glad it didn't stay off for too long. That made me happy. Because it gets dark in this shop when the power goes out. So I hope everybody's having a good Saturday and all that fun stuff. So I mentioned there is just so many pop-up things happening on my screen right now. Hang on. Oh. Hi, Mike. I'm glad you could join us today. Yay. Glad you could be here. All right. Like I promised last weekend, what we're going to do today is we're going to decoupage on some t-shirts. So I'm going to make a t-shirt for myself and a t-shirt for my sweet mom. And so we're going to make decoupage t-shirts and show you how to do that. All right, let me get some things out of my way here. If my assistant can come and take a thing or two, that would be lovely. And I'll show you what we're going to be using. I just need that gone. All right. So I just got some cotton t-shirts and they're just cotton. So I got a white one and a dark colored one. And so we're going to decoupage those today. And then you'll need either a piece of brown paper, like a paper bag that doesn't have writing on it, or craft paper, or even parchment paper, I think will work, or silicone, or what are those mats? Teflon? Is that what it is? Teflon mats? Whatever it is, you need to be able to iron on top of it because we're going to heat set our decoupage. And so you'll need to put something on top of your decoupage paper or a picture and then heat set it with an iron. So I tend to use this craft paper and it works well. All right, the next thing we're going to use is this sweet decoupage paper from Decoupage Queen, and we do have these in stock. And this decoupage paper is an A3, and I don't know if you can see it, but it has this sweet little girl angel on it. It says bingo, and then the other half is this postcard scripted kind of writing. And so we're going to use this half today, and we're going to use this little bingo angel baby. So that's what we'll be using. And so we do have these in stock, but you can use any decoupage paper that you choose for whatever textile you're doing. So have that. And then we'll be using this special glue from Pintart, and I do have these in stock as well. It's called Dark Decoupage Varnish and Glue for Textile. So this is what you use to decoupage on textile that makes it washable, and you can dry it on a low temp, but I would say just to be safe to have it more durable is to hang dry your item, and that'll make it last longer. But you can wash it and you can dry it on a low temp. So we'll need that. You'll need a couple of different brushes. You may need some white paint, and I will use, if we need it, the chalk paint from Dixie Belle in the color Cotton. Or actually, can I have my assistant back? Actually, I'm going to change my mind on that paint. Over in that bucket right there, clear bucket, do you see white in that? No. Okay, look in the bag. Bag down there.
Here?
No. Over there, there's a bag of paint on the floor.
Uh-huh.
Do you see it?
Yeah.
Do you see a white one? Now, I have used this as on my decoupage onto fabric. Didn't have any issues. But what I really prefer to use is my decoupage or my acrylic paint that's white, that's meant for fabrics and other items. Here, just okay. So while he's working on that, the other thing you will need is something to put in your t-shirt that will be between the front and the back of your shirt. And that way you won't get the glue on the back of your shirt and glue your shirt together. Then you couldn't wear it. That would be sad. So we don't want to do that. So, all right. So the first thing you're going to want to do, I'm knocking over my decorative items there. Whoopsie. That was our last weekend's project. Isn't that cute? What am I doing here? It's not liking me. Okay, we'll turn it that way. Okay. Parchment works good. Great. Thanks, Kay. Yes, that works fine. Thanks. And so what I'll be using today for my white paint is I'm going to use this acrylic craft paint that I got at Hobby Lobby. And this is, you can use it on canvas, plaster, clay, metal, fabric. And so I like to use this on my fabric for fabric paint. Okay. Thank you, assistant.
No.
Okay, so you want to, let me turn you down so you can see what we're doing here without dropping the camera out, because that's what I'm good at. It's got to go down more. Okay. I think that'll be good. All right. So let me line this up where I want my shirt thing to be. And so you just want to stick the board in whatever you might be using to separate your front from your back. And so you can see here that I have the board in between. And so this is the black shirt. Now, when you are going to decoupage something or even stamp or whatever you might be doing to your shirt, you want to make sure that you're not doing it right up against this seam, because that'll be really high up on your neck. So I tend to go down from my neckline 3 or 4 fingers, and that's kind of where I want that to the top to be for my item. Whether I'm stamping or decoupaging, that's kind of how I gauge, is 3 or 4 fingers down from that neckline. Okay, so we got the black one ready, so let's get the white one. And the reason I chose black and white for this project is I wanted you to see the difference with decoupaging something on a light color versus something on a dark color. Has anybody decoupaged on fabric before? This is such a great technique, and we have some awesome glue from Pentart, and it just works so good. All right, so you want to make sure that whatever you're using to separate is also wide enough for your project, because remember, what we're doing is gluing. So we're going to be putting glue down on this, and so you need to make sure that you have a spacer that's wide enough and long enough for whatever your project is you're doing. Okay. All right. Yes, Kay has done it. It's so much fun, isn't it, Kay? You can customize your clothes this way. It's such an easy way for you to add flair to your own clothes, so you can even upcycle your clothes. That's what I love about it, upcycling. So I don't know about any of you, but some reason as I get older, my shirts in the middle tend to find some grease stains or maybe spaghetti sauce stains, and you don't ever want to wear the shirt again. And this is a great way to make that shirt new again and wearable. So it is fun to do. All right. So now that I got the white one done, let me show you what I've done. So I've separated it from that other side of the paper. And all I did to separate it was I used a paintbrush with water. And I just went along the edge and I painted it with the water, and then I just gently tore it. And when you do that method, you get this kind of soft frayed edge. If you use scissors and that's the look you like, you can certainly cut them out. But I like to have this frayed edge look on it. So you can certainly, some Dollar Trees, I haven't seen them at the one here in Port Orchard, but some Dollar Trees have what they call water pins. And so you can get a water pin. It's like a paintbrush that you fill with water, and you can use that to outline, and then you just gently pull the rice paper apart, and it gives you these nice feathered edges. See that? So it gives you a more organic look to your paper. So this particular paper, I decided I wanted to just kind of trim up the edges a little bit, give it a different little shape. You could certainly just trace out the baby angel here and use that on just your shirt. And then this paper I left fully square. So super cute. What I wanted to show you was the difference of when you have a picture that's on a white background. So I'm not sure if you can see this real well. No, there's no way to extend that arm out, I don't think. It can't come this way anymore, can it? No. Okay. Hopefully you can see this. So see how vibrant this picture looks on this white background? It's bright. You can see all the colors. It really stands out. When you put the same picture, let me move this over. When you put the same picture on the black background, it will tend to not stand out as much. So let me see if I could put them side by side and see if you can tell the difference. Get this one a little closer. Might be a little deceiving because of the light angle. So I'm not sure if you can see the difference between the two. But here you can see her face is a lot pinker, a lot brighter, and here her face is has a lot more shadows and it's a lot darker. So that is one thing you can do. So when you are decoupaging onto a darker fabric, you have to decide, do you like the way the paper looks on the fabric, or do you want it to have the more vibrant color? So for me, I like it to have more vibrant color. So what I will do is I will give the back of my decoupage paper a light coating of white paint, let that dry, and that is essentially giving it the same white background as the white t-shirt. So let's do the white t-shirt first, and then we'll move on to the black t-shirt. Okay. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate you doing that for me. That is awesome. And friends, if you have other friends or family who might be interested in learning how to do some of these things that we do each weekend, please feel free to share the video out. We would love to have other friends join us to do this and craft together. So let me pull this up. I know it's not really. Okay, so let me find my board again. Let's make sure we got it in the right spot where I want it. Make sure it's in the middle. We have a lot of great new decoupage papers in that you could do this with. We have some butterflies. We also have steampunk. So if you're into steampunk, we have some steampunk decoupage paper. Those would look really cool too, like a black t-shirt or something like that. And you could even decoupage and then stamp on your t-shirt. That would look really awesome as well. So I've got it in between my front and back. I'm going to measure it roughly about 4 fingers down. So I'm going to choose this as kind of my placement. Now, if you want to be exact, you can certainly use a ruler or measuring tape to make sure you have the distances you want. I tend to do more eyeballing. Now, it doesn't always work out for me, but that's how I tend to kind of do things. So this looks pretty good to me. I've got the end kind of in line with the middle here. The sides look pretty equal and straight. So we're going to go ahead and choose this space right here as our decoupage area. The other thing you're going to want is a brush that's not real fluffy. You want a more firm brush. This is just a regular craft brush. And the reason for that is you want the glue to really get into those fibers. So you need it to be more stiff to work that glue in. All right. Anybody doing anything fun this weekend? So I'm just going to flip that paper over. I generally know where my edges are, so I'm just going to start putting down some glue. Whoops. As it's coming out of the bottle. It's a little bit heavier than like an Elmer's glue or a Mod Podge. So you can see it's kind of like a thicker kind of paste. And all you want to do is work that right into nothing on the schedule. You just kind of want to work this in. Now you do want to work kind of fast just because it's glue. So you don't want to take a long time to lay down your glue. So generally what I do is I start with kind of the first third of my project. Hey, Miss Kendra. Sorry you're late. You're never late, girl. It's all good. So you want to make sure you have a generous amount down. I'm just glad you could join. So I'm going to start with the first third of my project. I'm going to put some glue down. Now don't worry, because this glue does dry clear. So you don't have to be too worried if you get more than maybe what's on the edge of where your project is. Okay, so I've got a good generous amount of glue down. Let me straighten out that wrinkle a little bit here. Oops. That's the thing about t-shirts is they kind of move around on you. And that's okay. So I'm just going to kind of pull it that way. Oh, the other thing, can you... Actually, this will work. I forgot to mention, friends, the other thing I like to use when I'm working on fabric as well is I like to use a brayer or something even flat like a craft stick. And that just helps me get the air bubbles out so it's laying down really good and flat on my item. So I'm going to go ahead and line this up again where I put that glue down. And I'm going right about there. And so I'm going to give it from the inside out. I'm going to kind of gently rub out to the sides. Okay. All right. Now you can take your craft stick if you want and gently kind of give it a good smoothing using that edge, and that'll help get the bubbles out. Or you can use a brayer like I have here, and you can just rub it out as well, and that helps push it down into the fabric. Okay. Okay, so now we got that top third done. I'm going to roll it up a little bit, and now I'm going to work on the next third. And so we're just going to lay some glue right down here on this next third. Probably a little too much there. Make sure you get glue all the way up to where you stopped last time. And you want to just get it really good into those fibers. Yeah, this is great for upcycling your clothing. Or maybe you found a really cute shirt at the thrift store, but it has a little spot on it. Not to worry, you could take a piece of decoupage paper and just fix it right up. So now I'm going to gently lay that down. Kind of give it that smoothing from the inside to the outside. Inside out. Now, if you feel a wrinkle that develops maybe underneath because your shirt has bunched, just peel this back and straighten out your shirt. Okay, easy. Because we're using decoupage rice paper, it's pretty easy to manipulate and to be able to kind of... So I'm just using the edge of my craft stick to kind of help make sure there's no bubbles under that decoupage paper. Or, like I said, you can use your brayer. It's kind of up to you, whichever works best for you. Okay, so I'm going to peel that back just a little bit. Add some more glue on here. And then what this does is it will seal your decoupage paper right in onto your shirt, and we will put another layer of glue on top.
Charmin is watching.
Hi, Miss Charmin. I'm glad you could join me today. Thanks for joining. Welcome, welcome, all my crafty creator friends. Make sure you're liking and following our page, and if you could share us out to your friends and family who might like to also see some of these crafts, that would be awesome. Okay, so I've got my next little bit of paint or glue down, not paint, glue. Glue, friends, glue. Okay, So I'm going to kind of just gently lay that down and make sure I have a good seal on my fabric. Again, I'm going to use my brayer. All right. I'm going to roll this back to do the last little bit that we have here. Isn't it cute? I just love this cutie patootie little angel. She is so darling. I mean, you could cut her out and use her just by herself on a shirt. Isn't she just so cute? I just love her hair. But she's so darn cute. All right, let's put some more glue down. Now, you can't do this with just any type of glue. You really got to make sure it's Decoupage for Textile and that it's meant for textiles. So it's meant for shirts. It's meant for fabrics. You really want to make sure that you have the right glue for the job you're doing. All right. We are making this shirt right here. This is going to be for my mama. So this is going to be her shirt. We used to play bingo all the time when I was growing up. We would go and play bingo when I was a teenager. And I loved it. I love playing bingo anytime. So this just kind of reminded me of my mama and us doing those things together. And you've seen her once or twice on the lives before. Maybe someday here in the near future she'll come join us for another live and craft with us. All right, let me make sure we get any potential wrinkles out as we're laying it flat. So we make sure you go from the inside out, always from the inside out. There is a little bit left down here that I haven't done, so let me do that. Like I was mentioning, we have some new butterfly decoupage paper. We have some new dragonfly. We also have eagles. We have an American flag one. We have some hot rod cars. So that would be a great gift for a husband or a dad. You could decoupage a shirt up with an old car. Be very unique, one of a kind gift. Or take his old shirts that need to be upcycled and surprise them with a new upcycled shirt. All right. And then we just smooth that out. Okay, you see how I've gotten the glue down below? I don't know if you can see that real well. Down below the shirt or where the paper is. It's okay because it will dry clear. So I'm going to give this one good roll from the inside out to make sure I've really got it on there good and that there's no big bubbles underneath that. And I want to make sure these edges are down. All right, that looks pretty good. So far, so easy, right? I'm telling you. This is easy peasy. Look how beautiful that looks already. All right. The next layer we want to do is we want to go over top of this. And the thing I want to make sure I pay really close attention to is these edges. Okay. So we're going to do it similar to how we did it laying it down. We're just going to start at the top, work our way down. I'm going to make sure that glue comes to the edge and just slightly over it, because I want to make sure it's good and sealed down on the fabric.
Sherman asked, will it be washable?
Yes, that's the great thing about this decoupage glue and varnish for textiles. It is washable. So what we'll do is once we've gotten this on, we're going to heat set it. Now, I typically like to wait a couple of days before I heat set, and that's only because that way it gives the water a chance to naturally evaporate. But you can heat set it as soon as you've done it. You just have to take a little longer to do the heat setting. Not a big deal. Once you've done the heat setting, it is now washable and you can dry it. So when you wash it, I would just wash it on a gentle cycle. And then to dry, you can either put it on a gentle kind of lower heat to dry, or you can hang it to dry. I suggest hanging it to dry just because that way it will stay, it's more durable that way, so it'll stay prettier for many more washes. But you absolutely can wash and dry this once it's done. Isn't that exciting? It's so exciting to have a washable and dryable decoupage glue. That's what makes this so much fun and so versatile, is that you could do so many things, and it can be washed and dried. Now, I've even seen where some have done this with jeans. They've taken jeans where they've maybe spilled something on it or got something on it, and they have decoupaged over that area, and now they have a really cute, unique pair of jeans. And so that's really fun. The possibilities are endless with this. That's why I love it so much. You can do so many things. So many. So all I'm doing is just going over the top of the paper now, and then just making sure I've really got those edges good and sealed. Now you do have to be kind of mindful because it will look like there's glue a little bit if you go too far over the edges. So you don't want to go and brush, half over your t-shirt unless that's the look you're really going for. Even though it does dry clear, it does put a little different texture around it. So just know that. So you just want to just go to the edge and make sure it's good and down. And don't forget your corners and all that good stuff. And so we'll just kind of give them a good brush down here. Make sure it's good and sealed with the glue. This is such a versatile craft. Even the kids can do this. So you could give them decoupage papers and they could create their own decoupage shirt. How fun would that be? Now you could use fabric paints. The other thing I've done is I've not only stamped shirts that I've decoupaged, but I have also stenciled. So you could take a stencil, maybe there's a stencil you like, and you can use the fabric paint, which is, you can get it at Hobby Lobby. It looks just like acrylic paint. This is also safe for fabric. And once you've heat set this, it's on there too. You can wash and dry it. So once it's heat set, you can wash and dry it. But you could put a beautiful stencil for a border around this using this. So you can make bags, you could make t-shirts and jeans and aprons and just all sorts of things. Okay, so we have our first one done. Look how easy that was. So beautiful. So I'm going to leave it on the cardboard, and then we're going to set it aside, let it start drying, and we're going to work on the black shirt. So let me show you this up close so you can see it. So there is our Bingo Baby Angel on the t-shirt, and so you can see the edges a little bit more. So you can see how they're just glued down, and there's just a little bit of glue on that edge, so it's all the way down, so they're all good and sealed. Isn't that cute? And what did that take us? 10 minutes? 10 minutes to do that. That's what's so awesome about this. Okay, we'll let that sit there and dry. Now we're going to work on the dark one. Now, like I mentioned before, you could leave, you don't have to paint the back of your paper if you're okay with the way it looks, but always try your paper on your fabric to make sure you like the way it looks, because how you see it when you lay it down is what it's going to look like when it's dry. I know, isn't she going to love it? She is going to love it. So if you want it brighter, the way you make sure decoupage paper is always brighter, and this goes for any surface, whether it be wood, plastic, fabric, anything, is you have whatever's underneath it is white. That way, if it's white, it'll come and you'll see the colors real vibrant. So because I don't want to just paint my shirt white, I'm opting to paint the back of my decoupage paper in white. So we'll set that shirt aside and we'll just give this a really quick coat of white. It doesn't have to be thick. As a matter of fact, it shouldn't be thick. It should be real thin, because you have to be careful that you don't let it seep through the front of your shirt. So let me get a brush out. Let me make sure I don't have a lot of water on it. So let's get it dry. And then we're just going to give a quick coat of white to the back and dry it. If my lovely assistant husband could hook up my heat tool, that would be fantastic. All right. Can you plug my heat tool in? Okay, we'll give that a good shake. All right. So I'm just going to put some on my brush here. Whoa, that's a lot to start with. Okay. I'm not going to start real heavy, so I just have a little bit on there, and then I'm just going to kind of brush it on. Now you do want to make sure, and I'll show you, you want to make sure you get to these edges, because if you paint just the middle, what's going to happen is it's going to look dark. We are going to take a piece of this paper and I'm going to put some paint on it. Otherwise we'll be sitting here all day with me squeezing paint out. Okay. And I'll show you, because once you do the inside, so if you do just, or if you miss spots, let me show you what it looks like. You will be able to see where that dark is, and you'll see the difference. So I'm just using a real light touch. I'm not pressing. I'm just using a real light touch and going along the back of my paper. Real light. And I'm just, if you start pushing real hard, that paint is going to seep right through to your picture. So you just want to use a real light touch. Oop. Hopefully I didn't get paint on the front of that. Real light touch, and I'll show you what it looks like, the difference between the painted and the not painted, and the edges if you don't get it to the edges. Okay, my finger's stuck to it. All right, so I don't know if you can tell, but it's kind of hard with this light. Actually, it's not very telling. But the top part is painted with the white and the bottom part is not. Yeah, you really can't tell in this light. You kind of just got to trust me on this. It's not showing you as well. I don't think you can see it. Okay. Get this painted up. We'll get it dried up. And then we'll get it on our shirt. Now, I have used chalk paint, so if all you have is chalk paint, that's fine too. And the reason it works and it's okay still is because you're sealing it with that glue and varnish. So you're essentially sealing both sides of the picture. You're sealing it underneath and you're sealing it on top. So there's not an issue with that chalk paint. But I do prefer, when decoupaging on fabric, I do prefer to use the craft fabric paint. Now you can use chalk paint on all sorts of fabrics. So you can use it on chairs, you can use it on other things as well. Seat cushions, so if you wanted to give your dining room a new look, maybe you've got stains on your dining room chairs and you want to give it a new look, you certainly can use chalk paint to paint your cloth furniture. And then you would just let it dry, and then you would use our easy peasy wax, and that gives it a good seal, and then also makes it soft, makes the fabric feel soft again. So you can use chalk paint to paint fabric. So if you're looking at those chairs that you see at the thrift store and they're really pretty vintage chairs, don't pass them by, because you can potentially paint it and paint the cushions and the fabric and have a really pretty vintage chair. Let me get some more paint on here. Whoop. All right. Isn't this exciting? You trust me, Kay? Oh, hi, Vicki. Welcome. Yeah, so right now on this, I'm using, that's a great question, Vicki. So I'm using acrylic craft paint that I got from Hobby Lobby, and this is meant to be on fabric. So you can use this on fabric. I tend to use this when I'm doing clothes, only because they're going to get washed and dried. And so I want to make sure that I'm using a fabric paint. But like I was mentioning, you can use the chalk paint, and you can use this on all sorts of fabrics. You can use it on clothes. I would just make sure that because we're using this, we're sealing it with the glue, the varnish on both sides. It'll be okay in washer and dryer as well. But I tend to prefer this on clothing. Oh, yes, you use diluted, oh, that's awesome. Diluted chalk paint to dye fabric for cushions and chairs. Yeah, yeah, it's great paint to put on fabric, fabric chairs. It's great paint. And using it diluted as a dye, that's cool, because that's unique and different too. Okay. So I'm just kind of getting it to the edge. I don't want to go to where all these wispies are. I'm just getting it to the edge of the paper. That's all I'm doing here, is making sure I've got my edges done so it all will look similar. So yeah, I'm so glad you all could join me today. I really appreciate it. It's always much more fun to craft with friends. So thanks for joining. I hope everybody is having a great weekend so far. And so we're just going to finish this edge up here. Make sure we got a good coat on here. Like I said, I'm using a very light hand. So just be gentle when you're painting the back of any decoupage paper. Because if you press hard, you will push it right through to the other side. So you want to be gentle when you're painting the back of a decoupage paper. Very light-handed. Now, when you're putting the glue down on the shirt, you do want to use more of a firm hand, because you want those fibers to get full of that glue. So you want to make sure that glue gets in there good. Okay. So I've got the back of my paper painted. Let me get this paint out of the way now, and it's stuck to my finger. So here is now our decoupage paper painted white on the back, so those colors will stay good and vibrant. Let me pull out my heat tool real fast. I'm sorry, friends. I know this is kind of loud, but I'll make it brief, I promise. So yeah, Using it on cushions, that is such a great idea. I'll have to try that. You know, I will have to look. I'm not sure if they make a larger size. Let me check. This size here is 100 milliliters. It doesn't give me ounces. It's 100 milliliters, but we do carry this in store. And this actually will do quite a few shirts or bags. But I'll check on that for you, Kate, and see if they have a larger size in that glue. Just giving this a good dry. And we have all sorts of different types of decoupage paper here. So we have lots of different rice papers. We have butterflies, dragonflies. We have steampunk. We have some eagles, American flag, some really vintagey looking decoupage papers. So quite an assortment. So there's quite a good selection for different projects that you might have. So let me get this out of the way, put the lid back on my glue so I don't spill it. And then now our paper is dry. And so there we go. Nice dry decoupage paper ready to put on our black shirt. So let me clean the paint off my hands because my luck, I will get that right on my black shirt. Oh, a quilt. To do decoupaging on a quilt. Oh, yeah. That would be really cute. Such a great idea. Kay is also a quilter. And so this would be really cute on quilt, decoupaging different pictures onto a quilt. Oh, yeah. I'll check and see if they have the bigger size. Okay, now that I got that all off, and oh, you know what? We got paint on this paper, so let me pull this paper up real quick. We don't need any white paint extra on our shirt. Okay, I'll set that right there. Okay, pull our shirt back out. All right, straighten this back out. All right, make sure I've got my cardboard between the back and the front on the inside so I don't glue my shirt together and then don't get to wear it. That would be sad. But, you know, all can be fixed. Okay, so again, I typically go about 4 fingers down, 3 to 4 fingers, and that's where my top is going to be. So we're going to go ahead and lay some glue down. First, let me put my paper down. If I know what I just did with my paper. Oh, here it is. So I can get an idea of where I need to put my glue. And let's measure those about 4 fingers down. So I want it right about here. That looks pretty good. I line it up with my tag so I kind of have it in the middle. Again, you can measure it if you like. I do a lot of things by eyeballing it, which is very different from my husband. That's why we work together good as a team.
I have a template for that.
Yeah, he's very exact, and I'm like, yeah, it looks about right. It's good.
Looks like they only sell it in 50 and 100 milliliters. So.
Okay, Greg just checked Kay, and it looks like it only comes in 50 and 100, so this is the largest. The largest jar, unfortunately. All right, so let me go ahead and put some glue down. Again, it's going to dry clear, so even if I go outside of where I might have it for my picture, it will dry clear, so I don't have to worry. So we're going to start again with the first third, and this is where I'm saying you might need a firmer hand because you really want to make sure that glue gets in those fibers. But I mean, sweatshirts, t-shirts, reusable cotton bags for grocery shopping, things like that. All sorts of good fun stuff to do. All right. Whoop. Okay. I got my first third done. And you line that up again. Right about there. Looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and inside out. Just press down on that. Now, if I figured out that I have not as much glue around the edge, so like this one, there's not a lot of glue around this edge, I will come back in because you want to make sure you get those edges down really nice. So I'll put in a little bit more glue now that I have my picture down, so I know where those edges will be, and that way I can make sure I get that edge down really nice. There we go. And if you have any wrinkles or anything like that, you can just pull it back up. And same thing again, inside out, and you can have it down. Now I have a little pile of glue there, so we'll just take that off. Again, you can use your popsicle stick, craft stick, to kind of gently go from the inside out, or your brayer, whichever you prefer. Okay, now I'm going to fold this back up. I'm going to come back down here and add some more glue. He's a great assistant, isn't he? I am very lucky to have such a good assistant. He is actually his main job while I'm doing my live, because I do my live here in the store where I'm located, the brick and mortar store. And his main job is when we have customers come in during live, he's able to help them, but he's also here able to help me get the things that I forget to get before live. So he is great. I am very fortunate to have such great help and support. So, and if you come in shop on Fridays, you will be seeing Greg typically. So you can always say hello to him. All right. And then I'm going to roll this down. Again, smoothing on the inside and then smoothing out to get those air bubbles. Okay. And I'm going to take my little popsicle stick, or whichever. And if you get those air bubbles, you can just roll it right back up and then reseal it again. Okay, let's keep going. Now, there is some exciting things coming to the store and the shop, so keep your eyes peeled, because over the next month or so, there'll be some exciting announcements, and we are growing and all of that. So make sure you have your notifications on. So if I go live or share those, you'll get a notification that there's a new post, so you won't miss out on the good news and all that fun stuff. Okay, now I'm just sealing that down. Okay, let's do the bottom half here. That's a lot of glue. Let me put some of that back. So you see how I'm really working it into the fabric. So you can see it turns that color white, especially on the dark fabric. So I'm really making sure that there's no dry spots or gaps in that glue, right? So that way I can make sure I've got a good layer of glue underneath this picture. And then we'll keep rolling it down. And you can see where I've added too much glue here. Not a big deal. It will dry clear, so I am not worried about that at all. A little bit more to go. A little bit more to go. Oops, a little too much glue there. So let me add this little bit down here. And all right, here we go. Put that last little bit down. And I'm just using my finger. If I've gotten too much glue on the edges, I can just use my finger and kind of wipe that up. Okay. Now, I don't know if you can see here, but it wasn't down real well, so I need to make sure that that's really pressed onto there. I'm going to take my brayer again and go over it inside out. So I start from the inside or the middle and work my way out, because I want to make sure that I've got all those air bubbles out from underneath. I want it to have contact with the fibers of the shirt. So there's a few air bubbles that you can see. And so that paper is just a little bit wrinkly there. So I'm just lifting it up and I'm going to lay it right back down again. I'm going to lift this edge up a little bit and then we'll roll it right back down again. And then that gets rid of all the air bubbles. So now I have a nice flat image without air bubbles on my shirt. Let me move this up just a little bit. There we go. Okay. Now that I got it down, I'm going to give it its layer of glue on top. See how this is easy. This is such an easy way to be creative. And then everybody will ask, where did you get that shirt? And you'll say, I made it. And then they'll want one too. All your friends are going to go, I want a shirt just like yours. And then you're going to have to say, ooh, or I'll make one. So a lot of fun being able to add this in. Okay. Make sure I get those edges really good. So I want to go over top of those edges. Make sure they're glued down. Now there was a little air bubble in there, so I just take my brush and I inside out and help move those air bubbles out. You really want to minimize the air bubbles underneath your project or your decoupage paper, because if there's air bubbles, that means it's not in contact with the fabric. So you want to try and minimize those as much as possible, because you want the picture to really be adhered to the fabric. All right. Almost done with this one, and then we'll go back to our white one and we'll heat set it, and then it'll be done. Good to go. Like I said, I typically give a day or two to let it dry on its own and evaporate the water out of this glue. But you don't have to. You can heat set it right away. So it is not a requirement to wait. You can heat set it right away. Almost done. I want to make sure we have a good layer of glue down here on this edge. It's really important to make sure that those edges are glued down well. Because, you know, when you wash and dry something, it's always the edge of something that starts to come up. So you want to make sure they're down good. This, like I said, this is washable. It's washable, and I would wash it kind of on a delicate cycle, probably inside out, just so that way it's not in direct contact with the washing machine or the dryer, tumbler, drum thing, whatever you call that. and then I would probably dry it on a low heat or hang dry. Now, I have washed and dried these shirts. I have not had any issue whatsoever. And I didn't do anything really special. So, which makes it nice that you don't have to worry too much. Now, I didn't even use, but maybe this little bit of glue. I don't know if you can see it, but just the space between the bottom of the jar and the bottom of the label is about as much glue as I used for both shirts. So it does go a long way. It might not look like it because it's tiny, but it does go a long way. All right, friends. Let me get that out of my way. No, that's not what I want. I want you to go away. Okay, you're not going to go away. Well, anyways, it's stuck in the middle of my picture, and I don't think you guys can see it. I think I'm the only one that can see it. Okay. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. Okay, let's just do that. All right. Okay, let me pull this one back, the white one back, and let's get this one heat set. First, I'm going to give it a good dry with the dryer, just to make sure it's good and dry. And then we're going to heat set it with the iron. Well, now it looks really crooked because I've messed up my shirt. But I promise it's not crooked. Well, I mean, I guess it could be. But, okay. Let me give it a good dry with the heat set. Yes, it's the same. Yes, it's the same. Yes, it's the same jar. You can decoupage it on denim, t-shirts, all of that.
When I'm asked about its volume, have you done it?
Yes. So let me get this dried up a little bit more, so it's not tacky when we go to do it. No, it won't go away. I think my mama is going to love this shirt. It's a surprise. She doesn't know she's getting it. And it's not even her birthday. Okay. All right. I think we're getting pretty good. So you want to make sure it's at least dry to where you put your hand on it, you're not going to get a bunch of glue sticking on your hand. So you want to wait till it's dry. So we're just kind of speeding up that process with my heat tool. Kendra says, I'm sure if it's not straight, it was a purposely chosen design choice for effect. Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. Yeah, it's not on straight because I chose it to be that way. I wanted it to be a little off center. Absolutely. See, there's always a way to fix things, and there's always a way to frame how you did something and why it's that way, right? Always a way. Thank you, Kendra. I love it. I love it. All right. Oops. I'm just knocking all sorts of things off over here. Okay. So that feels pretty good to me. So I'm just going to kind of lift my shirt up off this thing here off the cardboard just to make sure it's able to be lifted off. Okay, I'm going to go ahead now, and it's dry to touch. Like I said, you're going to want to wait longer until it's good and dry before you do this step, but I want to show you how to do it because I think it's important for you to see that. So I'm going to take my craft paper or parchment paper, whichever you prefer. I'm going to lay it right over top my image. I am leaving the cardboard underneath, which is perfectly fine. I'm going to put this right over top. The reason you want to make sure it's good and dry, because if you put this down and it's not, it will stick to it. So make sure your image is good and dry before you do that. Okay, so we're going to put that down. Now, with your iron, I think it's plugged in. Yeah, okay. You want to set it to the hottest setting. And then you want to make sure there is no steam on. This needs to be a very dry iron. The whole concept behind heat setting is you're removing the moisture out of the glue, so then it's now cured and set. So the dry iron is what helps heat set that and takes the rest of that moisture out. So very important, hot setting, dry iron. Now, if you're going to do it pretty close to after you finish your project that same day, you're going to want to heat set for 2 to 3 minutes over your project. If you wait a couple of days and heat set it after a few days, then you can shorten that heat set time to roughly 30 seconds to a minute. And so all you do to heat set it is you're just going to rub it over. You're just going to run your iron over your project. And you want to make sure you get it on there so it's good and hot, so it seals that varnish and glue in. Do you have a cousin in the room, Charmin? Hello, Miss Brenda. If you're watching, hello and welcome. We love to have more crafty creator friends. Like I always say, it's more fun creating together. Joey's mom. Well, hello there. Welcome, welcome. We do all sorts of different projects. Every Saturday we do something different. So as I'm ironing this, we made this last Saturday. This little cute Valentine sign. Most of the items came from the Dollar Tree, but we did use Iron Orchid Design, stamps and ink, and then Iron Orchid Design transfers for the roses. So that was a lot of fun. We also made, the weekend before that, these cutie patootie vintage Valentine hang tags. Isn't it cute? And then we made these cute little hang tags. We used Iron Orchid Design clay. These are old vintage Valentines that I got off of Amazon. So that was a lot of fun. We made a pink one. And then we made this cute little red one. Look at that. Isn't that adorable? Whoops. Look at that little bunny rabbit and that little baby with an umbrella. Isn't that cute? So we made those. So we do all sorts of different kinds of projects here. We did make this one Saturday as well, using different techniques on how to paint and stain. So that was another cute little project we did. So we have lots of fun here. So I just want to make sure this is good and done. And I'm sure it's been 2 to 3 minutes. I'll make sure I give it a good another iron later. But essentially, you have now heat set your project onto your shirt, so you can take the cardboard out. Oh man, Mom, you're scaring me. Move the iron. It's all good. It's all good. It turned out beautiful. Look. I'll show you how beautiful it turned out. Whoops, oops. I won't scare you anymore. But look at that cute t-shirt now. It is on there. You can see that it's flexible. It's now been heat set. It can be washed and dried. But it is now, so it's not stiff. It's not stiff like you would think, like oh, it's been glued on and it's solid. Nope. You can bend it. You can move it. It's now a cute little t-shirt. Thanks, Charmin. I think Mom is going to really love this. It's so cute. And like I said, it's flexible. Here's the edges of it. So you can see that glue dries clear, even on the white shirt. It dries clear and you can't even see it. Oh, thanks, Miss Melissa. Thanks, Kendra. I won't scare you anymore with the iron. We're done with the iron for now. But now we've got a cute little shirt. So you can do this on so many different pieces of fabric and different fabric. Thanks, Vicki. I appreciate that. I think it did turn out really cute. I think Mom's going to love it. You can use this on so many different types of items. So again, it's called, we do carry it in shop here, so we have it available. It's called Pentart Decoupage Varnish and Glue for Textile. Just make sure that whenever you use glue to decoupage, it must say textile. Okay, that's what allows it to be washable and dryable. Okay, and then I used this on fabric for my shirts that I do. And this is just a regular acrylic paint that's meant for fabric. So you have to check your acrylic paint, make sure it's good for fabric. And I do use Dixie Belle chalk paint when painting fabric furniture. This is really good for fabric furniture. And then you can just spray wax it and it brings it back to being soft again. So it's a good thing for fabric furniture. But, all right, friends. That's what I have for us today. It looks so crooked in the camera, but it really isn't, I promise. I hope you had fun. I sure had fun. I appreciate each and every one of you spending time with me. I feel so lucky and blessed to have you here. And hopefully we're going to have a great week this week. And we're going to stay warm and dry. Not a ton of rain, hopefully. And I will see you next Saturday at 4 o'clock again. All right, my friends. Thank you, everyone, for joining me today. I hope you have a fabulous week, and I'll see you next Saturday. Bye, friends. You got to end it.